respect. It is now 30 minutes past the hour of 11, and on the phone lines we have got a brother from Barbados, a man who has the experience that spans the Carifta Games, the Commonwealth Youth Games, and Champs in Jamaica. He's the former vice president of the Athletics Association of Barbados and currently serves as chair of its technical committee. Once again, let's say good morning to Mr. Andre Procope. Welcome back, sir.
Hi, good morning again. Good to be here.
Definitely a pleasure. This inaugural event that took place in Barbados, the Grand Prix. Let me just say congratulations on the successful launch. And what was the inspiration behind creating this event, and why now?
Right. Yes. Thanks for the congratulations. It was a lot of hard work, and it was a total team effort from a very small team that we had, and we are very thrilled with what we were able to present to the public. But quick to your question, the inspiration behind it, the idea actually came up from one of our young current college athletes, Irie.
I'm not hearing you, Mr. Procope. I'm not hearing you right now. Let's see if we still have him on the line, just to make sure that we have that connection. Mr. Engineer, sir, can you make sure we have Mr. Procope on the phone lines just the same, so we can continue this conversation and get this information? Because, of course, this was a successful launch of a big event that took place in Barbados. It's called the Barbados Grand Prix. So let's see if we could reconnect with Mr. Andre Procope to get this information to the masses. Once again, it is the Daily Fix right here on Irie Jam Radio. Shout outs to everybody that's locked in, everybody that's tuned in right now, getting some vibes and some energy and some music. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, even though it cooled down, you don't know what you need to do. If you are going outside, just be alert and be aware of what is happening. A flash flood warning is in full effect for the tri-state area, and as we have seen in the past couple of weeks, when these flash floods come around, it really does mean a flash flood. So be very alert while the rain is falling, and pay attention to certain areas of your house, and make sure it's not flooding go on and things of that nature. Let's see if we have Mr. Procope back on the lines. Mr. Engineer, do we have him? Okay, I'm hearing that we have Mr. Andre Procope back on the lines. Are you there, Mr. Procope?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry about that. Yes, connection problems on my end.
That is okay. Yes. That is absolutely okay, sir. You may continue where you got disconnected.
Okay, right. I'm not sure at what point you may have lost me, because I was talking.
The inspiration. I believe yeah. we were trying to get the answer for the inspiration behind creating this event.
Yes,
you were saying it was a young man who came to you with the idea.
Yes, he came to me. This was in January this year. He actually approached his dad, who is obviously an enthusiast as well, and his dad who went to school with me, gave me a call. He knew I was very much involved with the track and field in Barbados, and wondered whether it was an idea that we could put on. And I immediately liked the concept, liked the idea, the fact of celebrating these guys who kind of drop off the radar after a while. And so immediately like that, and then. But we talked several times over the next few days, try to work things out, see how best to present it, and really and truly the idea evolved each time we spoke, and it we brought on other people over the course of the next 6 months to help us in the planning and execution, and it really took off on us, much more so than we expected. Mm-hmm. That the final result was I wouldn't say quite different, but much more than what we had initially anticipated. So that was really how it all came about. Why now? Again, I believe Aaron, the youngster, he is currently in college, and he would have interacted with some of his colleagues on the circuit from Barbados and so on, and probably got the sentiment they may have felt unappreciated or underappreciated, being as that they're still high level athletes, but maybe not quite at, say, the Olympic status or enough to turn professional yet, that kind of thing. So that was probably why it came up at this point in time. Yes.
Now, you just mentioned the anticipation of the turnout. What did you want the atmosphere to feel like for local fans and international viewers? Because this wasn't just any meet, from the venue to the athlete roster to the presentation. What did you want the atmosphere to feel like?
Yes, we really wanted, put on something really special in all aspects. We want to entertain and to excite. Especially our local spectators. That was the initial idea, to really put on something that entertain and excite. So we thought, how can we do it different? How can we do it bigger? Make it entertainment as well. Get in the a bit of flashiness, a bit of what you see on TV with big track and field meets. So we really wanted the spectators to be entertained, and that's speaking from the local perspective. Because again, initially we hadn't really considered to much extent in terms of our international viewers. And again, I think things took off and we started getting interest from far and wide, and we adapted and grew, and we said, let's make this thing bigger. We kept thinking big, and eventually got Sportsmax on board. Somebody asked, why don't we pitch to them? They came on board as soon as they heard the idea, the concept. The streaming we always had was there for our local audiences mainly, but there was wider anticipation. So we wanted everyone to really be entertained and be excited, and the best way I can describe it as well too, as one person has said after the event, has told us in the committee, is that he was there at the stadium and he felt that he could not leave his seat or look away at any moment for fear of missing something happening, something big happening. So that to me has been our, it was what we were aiming for, and we're pleased that people felt that way. Yeah.
That's great to hear that people in the audience were captivated by what they were seeing inside the inside of the complex, the Usain Bolt complex, and all the athletes who were performing. You guys had to strategize basically to make sure that you put on a great show, and each athlete, as we were told, was limited to one individual event. That was a very strategic move. What was the thinking behind that format, and how did it shape the level of competition on the night?
Yes, good question. That idea again originated from the original concept, where we wanted to highlight these college level athletes, and that stemmed from there. In that, in particular with a small country like Barbados and so on, we know that in certain generations might have one athlete who can dominate several events. Win the 1, the 2, the 4. So the original idea was, okay, we'll restrict everyone to one event. We'll get their main event, their preferred event, and that way it spreads the accolade around, and in this case, the prize money around as well. So that was the original idea. And then as it grew, we realized, that concept also suited, for when the international athletes came on board and so on. We recognized that suited that, and that it would make almost practically every event very exciting and very entertaining, and we would have more athletes to display. So that worked very well for us. Yeah.
Now, speaking of the athletes, local and international, the lineup was stacked, from Olympian Mario Burke to Michelle Lee Irie, and rising stars like Kishan and Niles. What does it mean to have so many regional and international athletes rallying around a Bayesian event?
Oh man, that was it. That was fantastic. It's a fantastic feeling. Nice. That they believed enough that we could host such an event, and that they would choose to take part. And again, the roster was stacked. The number of athletes, I believe, in the end we had about 100 athletes competing in individual events. That's across 13 individual events. And among those 100, we had just about 30 Olympians, and current Olympians, world championship at competitors. We even have one person who was taking part in the Grand Slam track, which is obviously much bigger than what we had, and he felt he would still come to our event from Jamaica, and so it really was heartening. I really can't express how heartening it was, again, around the region, because once we decided to, let's make this a regional event or a bigger event, and to have all these come on board, it was really heartening. And it did show us the need, the hunger and the need for such events in the Caribbean.
True indeed, and it's even greater to see, that we are all supporting each other for events in the region. That is a great thing. And there was also real money on the line, $2,000 US for each winner. How important is it for Caribbean athletes to have access to meets that offer professional level prize incentives right here in the region?
Yes, I think that's very important, and it's very, very important for that to happen. It can only augur well for all of our athletes throughout the region, and speaking to various colleagues around the region and so on. It's one thing I always say, and I heard you mention it earlier when just before you introduced me. In that sense, we have the best when it comes to track and field in particular. We have the best athletes in the world.
Yes,
in our region.
Yes.
And so but our athletes have to, in many cases, they have to travel to Europe in order to compete at these sort of events. There are a few events as well in the United States, but again, that's a travel for a lot of them, and a lot of them then are also forced to even base themselves in the United States or somewhere where they can travel easily. But those who can't, it makes such a difference, and I hope the other events come on board throughout the Caribbean over the coming years. Almost like if we can have our own Caribbean circuit here, and so it makes it easier for our athletes to travel. It's more expensive for athletes to travel than the other countries, yet we have to travel further and longer, and that impacts on your net earnings, if you will, as well, because your prize money, then you have to win, or your prize money it's what you get is smaller in hand, and all that kind of thing. So I think it is very important that we grow on this event, and throughout the region we can also grow and have similar such events, and not just for the prize money, but also for the raising the level of competition. Having the athletes be able to compete and this level of competition, and within our own shores where they're more comfortable, and further, I think it goes not just the athletes, but to all of us across the region, that we are capable of putting on top quality, top class, world class events, which will just attract people, and hopefully further down, not just have our circuit here in the Caribbean, but others then from the Europeans will then be coming to us to compete in our circuit.
True indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, if you just joined in the Daily Fix here on Irie Jam Radio, I'm speaking with Mr. Andre Procope, who is the former first vice president of the Athletics Association of Barbados and currently serves as chair of its technical committee. He's a man that wears many hats. He has officiated across the region, from the Carifta Games to the CAC Games champs in Jamaica, but now you're organizing. What was it like stepping into that leadership role on home soil for an event of this scale?
Oh wow, yes, I would have. It was several words come to mind. It was intimidating. It was exhilarating. Again, because I believed in what we could do. If we got things right. what we could create. So it was, but it was, I will admit, intimidating at times. I did, even through officiating as a World Athletics referee, we do get to have some role in the organization of some events, and like the Junior Commonwealth Games, for example, in Trinidad, the technical delegate who was there, I was one of he had me assisting him along the way in a lot of the planning. So that helped as well as that, a couple of the Carifta games. So, and also as being a member of the technical committee here in Barbados, we are actually responsible for putting on, say like 95% of the meets that we have in Barbados. So there, we get to organize regularly on a smaller scale. But this was a big step up. So it was definitely intimidating, but I say exhilarating at the same time. Yes. And tiring.
Well, when you're doing good work, sir, you're gonna get tired sometimes, but you have to keep on pushing, and that is why it's a successful event this year, 2025. We do give thanks for that. Earlier this year, the Athletics Association of Barbados and the CIBC Caribbean announced a $400,000 partnership to support the National Junior Program. How will that investment transform youth development and athletic training on the island?
Right. Yes. That's a big question. I think it will have a huge impact. I understand it's like a four-year investment that they're getting, and athletics in Barbados is, I hate to say it, is a poor sport. It is a poor relation. So that investment is much needed, and I give kudos to not just CIBC Caribbean, but also to Noah Lynch, who is the current president of the Athletic Association of Barbados, who really champions track and field, but I give kudos to them for putting that together, and I have confidence it will have a huge transformative effect. We've already seen a part of it this year, in that we were able to take our largest ever team to the Carifta Games in Trinidad. We took 53 athletes, which is huge for us. Took part in a number of relays, which doesn't often happen for Barbados. So that in itself, gives the youngsters that confidence, and that they can get rewarded if they work hard and get a taste of wider competition. And then, further development, I've seen other things. They've had various training seminars, for example, public speaking for some of the youngsters, and lots of things. So I think it will have a huge transformative effect. It will need a lot of time to work, and for that to sink in, coming into probably the next generation, next 3, 4, 5 years of athletes now coming up. But I have quite a lot of confidence that will do a lot of good for track and field in Barbados. Yes.
Well, once again, Mr. Procope, let me just say congratulations on the Barbados Grand Prix, and hopefully this can become one of these signature stops on the global athletics calendar each and every year. And for us here in the diaspora, how can the Caribbean folks here, especially in places like New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, support the journey of the Barbados Grand Prix?
Yeah, so thanks again for the congratulations, and we look forward to having this event every year and getting bigger and better. And in terms of how the diaspora can get involved, the wider diaspora, we hope you can come on board in many aspects, sort of financially, professionally. I say financially, money is always good to put on an event like this. It costs a lot, but professionally, again, if anyone out there, if you offer certain services, that you think can benefit the Barbados Grand Prix, if you're an athlete's agent, for example, if you have any experience in managing big events, that kind of thing, we'd love to hear from you. we'd like the diaspora. You can fly into Barbados, come down to Barbados, and come and see the event yourself. Come and get involved, and also encourage any other countries, whichever part of the diaspora you're from, encourage them to send their athletes to the Barbados Grand Prix. Encourage them to set up their own, as far as they can, their own meets that they, to excite and encourage everyone. And again, I believe we are all, again, and what I really like, from about your station, it's one diaspora. It may sound cliche, but we are stronger together. And when it comes to track and field, yes, Jamaica stands apart, but when we are all watching the TV, watching the Olympics, a lot of us, like from Barbados or other countries, we may have one athlete during the Olympics. When we're watching other races, for us, if Shada Williams is not running, we'll cheer on Julian Alfred from St. Lucia, Keishane Thompson running for Jamaica, Thea LaFond jumping for Dominica. We once you're from the Caribbean, we're one Caribbean, and that's
what I always say.
Yep. And that's how I've been taught from growing up. I mean, my father was Trinidadian, my mother was Jamaican via Cuba. My grandmother's Vincentian, my wife's family is St. Lucian. So I've just grown up it as a Caribbean, is one Caribbean, and we celebrate our similarities, and we also celebrate our differences, the mild differences, but we're stronger together.
True indeed. Well, Mr. Procope, want to thank you so much for coming on the program today and sharing this information with my audience. Once again, congratulations and good luck with the Barbados Grand Prix and the success that you had this year. I hope it's bigger and better next year, and we look forward to this event each and every year. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you so much.
Irie Jam.